Growing up, I was never the athletic type. Sure, I was in a handful of sports as a kid, such as swimming, for instance, but I didn't get out too much. No, where my mind seemed to flourish and grow were in the stories I would read, the movies I would watch, the TV I would see, and the games I would play. The fantastical adventures I'd see were where my brain could run free. I grew up playing games like the Myst series and The Legend of Zelda. Or I sat on the couch watching my brothers play because I wasn't very good. For me, personally, it was more about the story than the final outcome. So getting to watch was just as good as being the one to progress the story. I found myself living vicariously through the adventures and fateful journeys that these characters would have. My daydreaming would of course get me into trouble, like being forced to use a timer on quizzes in the 2nd grade. I'm looking at you, Mrs. Burkowski. Or like wandering off out of the house after a huge storm for 2 hours and scaring the crap out of my parents. Sorry. Even after all that, I've never lost my sense of wonder. It's even inspired me to become a bit of a writer myself. Where I couldn't become these characters that were born to save the day, I could be the one to give life to a character, even if no other eyes would see it. That brings us to the current day. I'm 26, a year out of college with a mountain of debt, and a life set on pause. I've never really been dead set on where my life would end up. I suppose all this time I spent dreaming has put me into this place, and I have no one else to blame but myself. But for the first time, I have a chance to make an old fantasy of mine come true. And in most of these tales that I've known since childhood, I won't be doing it alone. Thanks to the beauty of the internet, I've made some amazing friends. People like me who are living lives in the big world, doing things that I wanted to do, doing the things I wish I could do. I've found an overwhelming amount of support and confidence from friends who I've never met, but with whom I have had countless conversations. The few that I have met have helped me even more so. Being an individual with a meager budget on a cook's wage hasn't really lent my life too many real-world adventures. However, I have been able to travel on my own a handful of times. And even when bad things have happened on those trips, I found that the world doesn't end and there is always a way for me to pick myself back up again. Thankfully, my wonderful parents have let me come back home for the past year to recuperate and get some real-world bearings. But I feel like I've begun to stagnate, getting too comfortable for my own good, letting life pass by while I stayed in my safe little cave. And now I have the chance to uproot and go where my heart desires. There are a few factors at play here, and for personal reasons, I won't share them, but I hope to someday, whenever I'm ready. And this is where you come in. I have a decent amount of savings, but I've never really done anything like this on my own. Anything you would be willing to give is more than I could ever ask for. What this fundraiser will primarily pay for is getting a moving truck and hauling all my crap that I can't stuff into my car to New York, Boston, Connecticut, wherever it is I end up. Any help at all would certainly make this transition easier for me. And in return, I'll be putting out more videos on this channel, including a bit of a documentary vlog of sorts, chronicling the journey as it happens. I will also be doing regular videos in the meantime with these idiots. Rude! That is so rude. He called you an idiot. Do you not... What? At least until all the kinks are worked out. If you do choose to donate, there'd be a few benefits in it for you as well. I have a few categories picked out, but I am open to suggestions. For instance, I could review an artist or an album, or bake something in a video in exchange for your gift. If that'd be something you'd be interested in, I don't know. Regardless of the outcome of this fundraiser, my life is about to change for the better. It will be hard, it will be stressful, but it'll be worth it. I don't know where this journey will lead me, as my end has not yet been written, and it's destined to be an uphill battle, but I'll never know unless I take that first step. No twist of fate or grandiose quest has been set out before me. I have to be the one to forge my destiny, and no one else. I'll need your help, should you be willing and able. My first step is here. The world of fantasy that I've dreamt of can become my reality. So who wants to come with?